Madeleine McCann, a 3-year-old girl, disappeared from her family's vacation apartment in Portugal in 2007, leaving the world shocked and searching for answers.
So everything, all the knowledge that you have, everything you've investigated, the book you've written, what's your whole rundown on this? What's your whole rundown from the 2nd of May to where we are now?
Well, like I said, there was a weak marking, positive marking by the cadaver dog in the bush right outside the patio. So they're doctors. So about getting the body, first of all, getting her out of behind the sofa, and they put her in the bedroom, probably on some plastic or something to figure out what to do to package her before they get her out. And then out in the bush, when in the timing of finding where to hide her, you look at the map of the town. Cemetery is a good place, right? Perfect. You do a little research too, but she's in the bush there in multiple layers of plastic garbage bag, probably taped together or something, whatever you have available. Imagining that would be safe for the cadaver. The blood is not cleaned yet. Put her in the cemetery. You rent the car 3 weeks later. They have done a lot of jogging, and based on the diary of Kate and her book that she wrote later, you can see her experiences on the hill. Please don't let Maddie be buried here. She prays to God. 3 days after her disappearance, she prays that the twins don't fall and bang their heads. That's kind of concrete, because that's exactly what happened to Maddie. Things like that. And then you have the rental car. The alibi for getting that was, of course, to picking up and family from the airport, which had been coming and going already 3 weeks. The reason they needed the car was to move the body, I think, based on the findings in the car. And it makes sense in terms of the hill, because there's 2 big bumps up the road there. I think maybe there's been some spilling, because if you're in the dark, even though it's full moon, you're sliding this granite top. You have this plastic bag of a decomposing body, you know. Don't want to talk sludge and things like that, but there's Amaral said that the liquid that was found in the car seemed like it'd been a cooled or a freezer, and that could align with one of these cast granite boxes. Even they're overground, they're contact with the ground. It was a cold May, that it was put in the final bag and zipped, but there must be some kind of spill or something. So when that bag goes in the back of the boot of the car, there's something connecting to the fibers there that gives this little the finding of the cadaver dogs and Keela, and they found the DNA, 15 out of 19 markers there as well. And there you go. And then it was all about keeping it together, getting the team on board on the faked abduction the next day, pretending everything is fine and happy. And you can see even in their language, which is very interesting, they always have to remind Fiona, she says, me and Kate and the 3 kids, and they talk about buying 5 ice creams on the 3rd. You say you buy ice creams for the kids, you don't say 5. No, because they're trying to convince us that they were all there. Madeleine too, right? This goes through the whole analysis thing. They use these numbers.
Why have they never took a polygraph test?
Well, here's the thing. That's again reverse psychology.
With all the speculation,
that's what they said.
You would think, fuck it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, but they did. They said, oh yeah, we're going to do a polygraph test. And then people were asking for it. And they said, no, it can't be used in court. Well, they knew that up front. That's what you do when you're guilty and you want to appear innocent. First, you get the PR stunt. Oh, and somebody I saw on the paper that they are, they're willing to take a polygraph.
Yeah, you can't use it in court, but sure puts a lot of speculation to bed.
Yeah.
Don't do 1 test, do 2 tests, and if you pass 2 tests, it's like 1 in 5 million to 1. So just end the speculation. But again, they might say, well, why should I? Which is understandable as well. You're not guilty because you don't do a test, but with so much speculation hanging over their head, they could have ended it straight away.
Yes, of course. But then the question is, why did they say that they were going to take one when they knew that was never going to happen, of course. So, but that's just, it was a media stunt. It probably 40% of people reading it, never question why they didn't take one.
But if Madeleine McCann has failed and bumped her head then they've not killed her, so why not just call an ambulance? Why not just the doctors as well? Why not just try?
Because, you know,
why try? Because it seems a bit more far-fetched than to try and cover it up, get rid of the body, then you are done for murder. So
it's a point of no return, because the panic of them discovering sexual abuse is everything. Everything. You lose the twins, you can't follow up the mortgage, you get a suspension of your medical license, both of them, it's over. But it's not only them involved. You got the Child Protection Agency look into the other families. It would be a nightmare, and it's an embarrassment for, you know, for Britain, the culture. If that was the culture, you know, in Norway it's different. We just bring the strollers and they fall asleep 8 o'clock at the table, dinner table, and then you stroll back home. If one wants to go to a bar, one goes to the bar, the other one takes the kid home.
While many believe she was abducted, Detective Bernt Stellander challenges this theory, pointing out inconsistencies and urging a closer look at those closest to her that night.
Yeah, that's what they do.
It's like, yeah, everywhere.
Santa Pons,
Yeah.
they're just all just to get steaming in the pub.
Yeah.
When you look at it, it's still fucked up. Everybody's drunk and smoking, but
Yeah.
that's the way it was back then.
Yeah,
but they
but they
wouldn't leave us in the room in a foreign country. You would just get drunk and then you go home with your mum and dad when they were steaming. You would go get some food, back to the apartment. Or my mum would take us back. My dad would stay out, get more drunk.
But they had evening crash. This is why they kind of found Tannerman. They switched him to Dr. Julian Totman. He was one of these guys who played tennis with Jerry. And actually Jane had seen him play tennis that same evening with Jerry. Anyways, but she was
sorry to interrupt, but do you think they could be possibly running after day 2, day 3 to try and find out a new spot for a new burial?
Well, I think that as soon as they started running, that's what they were looking for sure.
Okay.
Like 2 days later, I think maybe I don't know. There's a rumor, and not officially, but then it was for me, there was the May 19th, I think, Saturday morning, 7 a.m. photo shoot on top of the hill. And I don't know, that's kind of steep, that hill. Jogging there, you're in good shape. But it's like having the church, it's like showing it, look, we run here, nothing to see here. And what happens after that, they had requests. Can you imagine? The best view of the town is from up there. But then the response to why wouldn't you take photos, that no, we only take photos where it's a possibility where she could be found. There was this weird answer to that, you know, diverting from photos taking on the hill.
Yeah.
So, but it was convenient, people knowing they're jogging there. If you see us there, don't worry.
You were going to say something there when I interrupted, sorry.
Oh, Dr. Julian Totman, yeah. So this new DCI Redwood, he came in, taking over the investigation.
I think you were talking about the crash.
Yeah, they have a night crash. So their story was that Dr. Julian Totman popped up from nowhere, who had played with Jerry. Oh, I may be Tannerman, but he was walking the opposite direction, and probably not in that time. Otherwise, he would have spoken out earlier. It could be me. So the timeline was off when they supposedly saw Tannerman. Tannerman doesn't exist. This is Jane Tannerman not being there, but according to the plan, she was supposed to be there. But the plan crashed because when Jerry were setting off the play, the faked abduction play, he walked out the street without checking the street, which he said he never saw anyone the whole week. And there comes Jez Wilkins from BBC, guy there on a stroller with his daughter or son in a stroller up the street, and he crosses the street to chat with him. So he ruins the timeline they had set up for the faked play on this. And so Jane was supposed, probably when Jerry was supposed not to talk to him because she was on a time thing, and he was going to come to the restaurant, make sure everybody sees him, and she goes up and then she sees him and actually goes check. But she didn't. She was waiting for the cue, right? So she never walked past them because Jez would have seen her. She walked in flip-flops right by them, this quietest street in the world, narrow street. It's impossible that he didn't see her, so she wasn't there to see him. So DCI Redwood, he digs up Dr. Julian Totman, who came from the night crash. So there were night crashes there until 11. So when they go and dine 8 o'clock or something, they could have just taken their 8:30 or whatever to the night crash and picking up 11, and they can do the full dining, no risk, no anything. Or they could just don't be cheap and just pay some of these girls that were taking care of their daughters and say, hey, can't you babysit 3 hours when we're out drinking?
Why didn't they?
No, I didn't know. It sounds insane because I don't know. I think
could they just be naive to it all as well? And
but they're all doctors, but they all can't be like the McCanns.
Yeah,
like sedation, drugs. I mean, I know, like I told you, I know how my father looked at drugs. He abused drugs, like uppers and downers. And, you know, he had a super career. He was like chief medical of Northern Norway before he was 40. But he was using drugs, like these enhancement drugs. And my uncle in Austria, he worked for Pfizer, like, you know, selling these things and anything. And the way they look at drugs is unbelievable. And it could be that way. They were trusting in what they had, the arsenal.
Do you think we'll ever get answers with the Madeleine McCann case?
Well, this is the thing. You say, I'm not out to take them or watch them fall. But of course, that's a consequence of bringing the remains home and giving her a piece and a grave at home. And this is what Kate wants too. She leaked so many times that she wanted to end this. And I suspect that she's been under threat. And I'm talking physical threat, not her, but the twins have been at risk. And that's why she hasn't left this realm before. Because this is with the dream, the turning point dream. This is the media called it the turning point dream. When she called Paiva, the liaison, when Jerry was in the US, she wanted them to actually find it without getting caught. It's a little naive. I mean, if you put this in a novel, you know, nobody would publish it, but that's how it is. If you're not a criminal and you come up with stories, they're bad, even though you're very intelligent. So she had this idea that she could say that she's hidden on rocks on a hillside overlooking in Praia de Luz. That's only one hillside that could be, basically. She wanted them to find it, but that would point to her, right? Or she could pretend she was had a vision or something, right? But I suspect that there might be something in that grave that could point to them in otherwise. There's another cuddle toy missing, and there's a pink blanket. She might be rolled in and things like that. So
sad, isn't it?
But I don't think she cared about that. This become too big for her nerves.
His claims have reignited debates, raising questions about whether vital clues were missed or ignored. The mystery continues to haunt the world as we search for the truth about what really happened to Madeleine. If you found this video insightful, please like, share, and subscribe for more true crime stories. Thanks for watching.